Hey, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're at. I'm Tim Richardson. It's a privilege to hang out with you guys and teach you 5 ways to navigate buying your next RV. So I'm going to introduce our guests in just a second. Want to give everybody a minute to get logged in. Find the chat area. In the chat area is where you're going to ask questions throughout our time together. So just start off by saying a little shout out where you're from, your name, and where you're from, like the city that you're watching. It'll be fun. We'll do some greetings as we get everybody in here. We'll dive into some good stuff. Thanks, Nathan, for joining us. We have Nathan Anderson over here to my right. He has taken time out of a busy day. I appreciate you jumping in to answer all the tough questions. So we're going to come up with some really tough questions, hopefully. Carol from Wisconsin, maybe she's got one. Anyways, as we go throughout our time here, and we want you to give us some good insight. I know you've been seeing and hearing a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
RV Wholesalers. I'm up in Cleveland, Ohio. Nathan, you're northwest of Columbus?
Yes. Yep. About an hour west of Columbus, right off of 33 in a town called Lakeview, right next to Indian Lake.
So that's the headquarters of RV Wholesalers, where he helps a lot of people with getting in RVs. Michael, good to see you from South Dakota. Man, that's awesome. We have Deborah in Massachusetts. And let's see who else we got in here. Got a good number of people logging in here. Go ahead and find the chat area. Let us know where you're watching from. Don't worry about taking crazy notes. We're going to send you a replay. So if you have to drop out or have any kind of tech issues, no worries. About 2 hours after this, we're going to send you a replay. We'll also post it up on the RV Wholesalers. They have a YouTube page. You can go there, subscribe, and you'll get links to it there as well. But we'll send that out via email to you. Mike's in California. Good morning out there, Mike. And man, I'm excited to get started here. So while everybody's logging in, Nathan, I feel like this is us. I got in the back in the blue shirt. Like this is our team here. We got Mike and Debbie and all these folks that are just logging in here. We're going to help navigate down this crazy river. Like buying an RV right now, to me, feels like whitewater rafting. It's because I just took my family on a camping trip, and we went to Gatlinburg, Tennessee last week, and we got to do this. I didn't even get to upload the pictures. We've got like legit pictures from my family going down the raft right now. So I wasn't the guide, thankfully.
we are today, though, Tim. That's all.
But I feel like we've had enough experience between you and I. Like I've been running, we've helped over about 100,000 people just in our virtual RV shows, and then doing webinars like this for a year. We've done 75 of these just in this past year, probably. Just helping people listen to the questions, digging in, finding answers. I just was at the factories for several companies, Rockwood, one you were just talking about, Cherokee. I just went to the factories to take a look behind the scenes and see what's coming for 2022, because they're rolling off this week and next week. And so they gave me a sneak peek, which is pretty cool. So I can give you a little preview of that. But all that to say, we've been learning a lot about RVs the last few years, and we want to share that as much. I mean, we just want to download it to you so you don't have to worry about hitting the rocks or hitting the rapids, being surprised or caught off guard, just like this right here. Like this is what we don't want to happen. And so that's why we've taken time. In fact, the owners of RV Wholesalers have said, hey, Tim, even though you're not an employee of ours, like we just want you to come on and just help us get the word out. Like we were teachers. The owners were both teachers, high school teachers, and they love to teach and equip people, even if it means, as they know, they can't sell 600,000 RVs to you guys, to everybody. So they want to just help as many people as they can get the word out so that no matter where they have to buy, they're taken care of and they're not taken advantage of. So you'll see me get pretty passionate, and I'm sure Nathan too. It's very frustrating seeing people being taken advantage of. And I've never seen it like it has been this year. And obviously COVID and all that, and that whole demand thing just has exasperated it. Mm-hmm. And I've seen it and heard about it from the factory side, from their dealers, from all the different dealers to people like Nathan's dealing with every day that says, hey, we just this just happened to me. I don't want this to happen again. I came to you guys to help us. And anyway, so we're going to work through all that. Boom. Oh, yeah. My first RV trip. I don't know if I showed you this, Nathan, but yeah, I was born up in British Columbia, Canada, actually. And my first RV trip was up there. My dad built this thing. This is a little camper topper. And we took it back into Boot Lake for vacation. And this huge tree fell over the road there. You can see it in the picture. And that thing, we had to wait for the Forestry Service. Like, there's no way we could move that thing. So we camped out there, a little lean-to there. And while we were camping in the middle of the night, about 2 a.m, I remember waking my mom up like, I want to sleep in the RV. I want to sleep in the car. And so we slept there. And the next morning, my brothers, they were walking around the campground and they found like these huge bear prints. And so, yeah, ever since then, I have a special place in my heart for RVs. They saved my life, I say. You know, it's like, so I love RVing.
You can make it here, Tim.
Yeah, my family loves RVing. And we've had a lot of fun the last few years, taking different things from Class C's to travel trailers out to all kinds of different trailers, borrowing them from you guys and different things just to go to different campgrounds, and really had a blast and learned a lot. And I think you guys are going to love it. I'm proud of you for taking time to learn this morning on how to navigate the waters here. So first thing, ask for the out-the-door price. Can you talk about that, Nathan? And then we'll dive into some of the hidden fees that we're showing here and things too. I made a little handout for them, folks, too.
Yeah, out the door price, as most of you guys know, typically an advertised price, you're going to be super low, just enough to kind of get you on the hook, so to say, biting the bait. And then when you actually go to pick up that RV, whether you wait a couple of weeks for it to be built or you actually get a stock unit, that's when you get hit with fees. I mean, crazy fees from tire replacement to EPA fees to prep fees. I mean, there's some examples right there. It's so important, especially if you're trying to compare a dealership to dealership. Somebody's, they're advertised 24,000, you're at 25,000. Well, they're going to tack on $4,000 of fees, and then I'm still cheaper at the end of the day.
Yeah, so you're serious about these fees. So like the PDI, let's dive into these a little bit. But like you said, comparing apples to apples, like that's what you got to do. Like, it's not a hidden fee if you know about it. And the sad thing is, and this is another frustrating thing for me, is to see people, because let me just walk you through real quick how the buying process works. And this will explain to like how people kind of don't know about these fees, then they become hidden fees.
Yeah.
So that way we can kind of get you on the, so you really are comparing apples to apples when you're starting to shop around and look at prices. So, okay, buying process real quick. So no matter where you go, whether it's a show or online or local dealership, you go in, you look at a bunch of different RVs. And when I talk about RVs, like I didn't even know this, but when I first started, but RV to me, I thought was a motorhome. And then I realized, that's the whole category. So when we say RV today, what we're saying is the RV is the category. And then you have a class A, B, and C motorhomes under there. You've got travel trailers, you've got all of these different sorry about that. You got all these different types of travel trailers. You've got you got the toy haulers that you can put your little four-wheelers up into. You've got your park models, where you can park it, and it's more like a house
all of your bumper poles and just normal fifth wheels without garages in the back of them. Yep.
Yeah. So that's when we talk about RVs in general. So we'll say that throughout the day, but that's all the types. And I know you guys carry all the different types. So, but okay. So the process: you look at an RV, you say, that's the one we want. Let's put a deposit down. Okay. And at that point, what I'm finding is a lot of people, even today, when they're putting deposits down, they're not saying in exchange, let me look at the sales agreement. Let me see exactly what features are included. Exactly what my sales tax is going to be, what this is going to cost, and here's what I'm going to pay for this RV. That looks great. Here's my $1,000 or whatever the deposit amount is, and I would like to buy that one. So then at that point, the dealership most likely doesn't have stock of the exact one that you want, and then they order it from the factory. or if they do, they have to take several days to get it prepped and ready for you. So then you order it, then you come back to pick it up. It's all cleaned and ready, inspected, and you come back to pick it up. And then at that point, you sign the final paperwork. But first, they do a walkthrough. They teach you everything about it. You learn the ins and outs and how to turn things on and the whole bit. You're excited. Your family's there. Kids are excited. They just found their bunk beds. Little dog that you brought with you just found a little home under the little thing there, and everybody's happy. Then all that's left, you go into the little closing room. You finalize your paperwork to go over your financing, or pay off. Put your deposit down or your down payment down, and sign the final paperwork. It's there a lot of times, right, where all of a sudden, like, well, why is it $1,500 for pre-delivery inspection? Like, what's that? What is PDI? What is that? And you start asking questions. All of a sudden, these little fees start popping up right there at that point. And at that point, you're kind of stuck because, one, you've already put your deposit down, so you've already agreed on something. And so that's binding. Sometimes they'll let you out of it because they've got so many people waiting for that exact RV. And that's what they'll say a lot of times. A lot of people will say, that's fine. I understand that this is more than you were expecting at the end here. But these are, things you needed done. They kind of make you feel good. Like, of course you wanted us to inspect it. You didn't want to get an RV that, inspected, right? And so they kind of make you feel guilty about that. And, but then the worst part is like, well, we'll give you the deposit back. I've got 5 other people that have specifically asked for this RV, so no problem. At that point, what are you going to do? Do you want to wait 3 more months or 6 months or whatever it is to get another one of those? A lot of times people just like, oh, I guess we'll just pay the extra. We'll pay for the pricing. And we'll talk about pricing right now because price increases have been is another topic we're going to talk about. So anyway, so that's kind of how the process goes. That's why I wanted to make sure you guys understand what these hidden fees are, so you can address this before at the very beginning, and you ask in writing, like, what's my out the door price? You want to know everything that's included in that price, right? So Nathan, explain what PDI is real quick and why, it shouldn't really even be a fee. I don't think.
No, especially as busy as the manufacturers are right now. And even when they're not busy, they're humans. Sometimes they do make mistakes. That's our chance here as a service side of things, because as much out of state business as we do, we don't want people traveling from all corners of the country to get here and, your AC don't, hold temperature, your stove don't work. It's just essentially a pre-delivery inspection, check all your guys' components, run ACs, fridges, make sure they all hold and sustain temperature, along with doing a full detail. Even as they travel, sawdust comes from every corner of that camper.
Yeah, I mean, it's something you definitely want done, right? I mean, there's, it's kind of, I like to refer to it as the second wave of quality control. The over-the-road tests, then you have this final PDI at the dealership. But the thing is, the dealership is getting paid to do this. Like, if they find anything wrong, they go ahead and fix it. They've been trained to fix it by the manufacturer, but they get full compensation. Like, they get their full rate. So if they, whatever their service department charges, the manufacturer pays them that. So it's not, like, that's what's frustrating, because sometimes these dealerships will take and charge you for that fee. It's like almost double dipping, I think. And sometimes that fee, I've seen upwards as kind of averaging around $1,400. Have you? What kind of numbers have you seen?
Anywhere from about $1,200 to $1,600 is what I hear on an average basis. And of course, most dealers do charge a fee for that, and then some dealers don't even do one. And that's another sad part. If someone, again, out-of-state customer travels all the way there, and a simple something, gas leak or something like that to get fixed, or a gas hose blows or something like that, and they didn't catch it, then they put, fill the propane up, and now they got propane leaking out behind their tow vehicle while they're going down the road. So
I just so everybody didn't have to write out all these different types of fees down. I just shared a PDF document. It's a free PDF download. Look for it in the chat area. There should be a button that you can download this PDF so that you don't have to write this down. So that's there. So that's PDI. Another thing along with that, and we didn't even put it on the list, is walkthrough fee. Like sometimes they charge you to do the hour training or whatever it is. I mean, I know that you guys just take whatever time. Like you want people to be comfortable. They can use their video cameras. They can bring in an outside person with them, whatever. Like you want them to be comfortable that their RV is they're equipped to run their RV. So
exactly, and that's a travel trailer that's going to take you an hour. I mean, you got to think some of these motorhome customers don't get out of the walkthrough for, at least for my dealership, from 3 hours. So, and then these dealerships make these people pay per hour for their walkthrough. I mean,
yeah, so that's another fee. Watch out for that. Dock and title, though, that's one pretty much I mean, it's a fee that the state kind of mandates, dock and title work. How much is that for you guys?
$295. And then I'm sure you're going to ask me what I typically hear. I've almost had one that was almost $800 just for dock and title. That's absurd.
Because, and you can check with your state, but it shouldn't be much more, maybe $300-400. If you see anything beyond that, they're taking putting extra fees on it. It's like the shipping and handling fees. When you see on TV thing, it's only $10 for the unit, but the shipping and handling is $23 or whatever. It's kind of that idea. So watch out for that. But that is a fee you're going to want to make sure it's included in your sales agreement, so sales tax. You're going to pay the state sales tax of your county of residence. So wherever your main residence is. So if you spend a couple months in Florida and you buy your RV in Florida, you're going to pay sales tax wherever, like if you're in South Dakota is your main residence. So that's where you're going to pay your sales tax. So don't forget about that when you're budgeting. And another thing, when we're getting into transportation fees, ask them to separate out the transportation fees because the vehicle is manufactured in Elkhart, Indiana. So where I was 2 days ago, that's kind of the headquarters of 95% of all RVs are basically built there. So there's going to be a fee to get it from there to wherever you buy it, or a dealership, or if you buy it from RV Wholesalers, it's only from there to Ohio, which is like $300 or three something. So there's going to be some fee with transportation to its destination. That fee, you should not have to pay sales tax on that. So that's another little tip to write down. Make sure they separate that out. So a lot of times, sometimes dealers will bundle the price of the vehicle with getting it to their dealership. So when you're comparing apples to apples, separate it out so that like, what am I really paying for this? So if I buy it here versus if I buy it from a national dealership like RV Wholesalers, it's only $300 for that transportation fee. You're comparing what it is really costing you, because you still have to get it to your house, or you have to pick it up, or they'll deliver it, but there's a fee for that. And you can calculate that distance just by putting in your map to Elkhart, Indiana, see how many miles it is. And then, so if you're in Florida, it's 1,000 miles, there should be a $2,000 to $3,000 couple $1,000 transportation fee. If you're starting to see $4,000 for a transportation fee to Florida, that's when you realize, like, hey, they're getting more profit in this area too. So these fees, they're not hidden if they're upfront and they tell you, and that's what you need. So don't be afraid to ask that. I want to give you guys courage. Don't be afraid to ask the questions. So real quick, question from Penny. We're starting to look at fifth wheels. We think we found the one we want. So the dealer gave us a price, said he could do better if we come in with cash. So we came home and look it up and found a big difference in price in other states for the same fifth wheel. Why is that? So let's talk about pricing. Can you answer that question? Look at that question.
Yeah, for sure. Almost exactly what you said. I'll piggyback off that, explain that into further detail. I'm going to use New Mexico, for example. Okay. I just had a customer pick up a Puma fifth wheel toy hauler. He saved $16,000 compared to dealing with his local dealer, and it only cost him $1,000 for a couple road road stops along the way and some fuel, and you got that camper back home to them. They are all made in the same area there in Indiana. Everybody in the whole entire country buys them from that place. They come from one area. So you have to think of the amount of freight that New Mexico dealer has to add to that unit, because he's got to pay to get it all the way to New Mexico, plus upcharge it, plus add in all of his fees. And that's where it can be anywhere from $6,000 to $16,000 to some Cali customers saving $22,000. It can be whatever that dealership wants to charge and upcharge and make off of it. For example, like a motorhome, I had a customer that local dealer was trying to scouge him almost $66,000.
Yeah,
so
that's crazy. Okay, time out. So that's not a joke, folks. Like, I've been hearing this. So a lot of people ask, like, okay, is there some like invoice price, like, how cars come that exactly what the dealership paid for it from the manufacturer? It is not that way in this industry. There is not this MSRP price. That doesn't really exist. It's just kind of whatever the dealership wants to make the MSRP. Really the only price that the factory gives these dealerships that says, hey, there's a MAP price, minimum advertised price. If you advertise this lower than this price, you are no longer one of our dealers. I mean, they are very strict on that on the low end. There's nothing on the high end. And right now, the game, everything has changed where everything is not even, like dealerships aren't even close to that MAP price. So that's not even a worry. They're pushing this upper price, like you said, 66,000. That's hard to believe, but it's true. I don't know, getting my blood boiling here, because pricing is out of control right now. Because what's happening is you have these manufacturing price increases that are happening, and so dealerships have changed their sales agreements to have a little clause in there that says, how do they word it, Nathan?
Pretty much, if they'll put it right there in their terms and conditions, they'll say, if this unit gets hit with a price increase while it's in the manufacturing process, you have to pay that out of pocket, or they're just going to give you your deposit back. So, and the sad part is a lot of these dealerships don't tell you about that while it's getting hit with price increases. What they're doing is they're waiting until you actually come pick the unit up. So, hey, you wait 3 months for this camper to get built. You're super pumped. You booked all these trips. And then you get to the dealership and they ask you what credit card you want to put $4,000 in price increases on. I mean, it's simply not right. And I'm the only dealership in the country right now that I know that's price protecting.
Yeah, because when we were at the factories, I mean, they legitimately have had their supply chain just kind of upended, and just like every other industry, car, everything, wood. So, these are houses that have wood in them. These travel trailers have wood. They have insulation. Like all these things that have gotten price increase. So legitimately, they've had to raise their prices. I'm not complaining about that, even though it's been more than any other year in the past. Yeah. But it's just because it's a supply thing, and so they're trying to keep it as low as they can, but then they have to pass that on to the dealership. So the dealership doesn't pay for that RV until it comes off the line. So even though you order it, say in June this year, and you pay your deposit, that basically the dealership, like Nathan, he will place the order. It becomes official. It has a name attached to it. So it actually takes priority over any of the, hey, let's just order 100 of these Rockwoods and put them on our lot. Those take the back of the line. Now he jumps ahead of those orders, and now he's got your order sitting there waiting to be fulfilled. Well, the dealership doesn't pay the manufacturer until it rolls off the line. It's totally completed. And then but what happens is between the time that you ordered it and the time it rolls off the line, they got 2 or 3 more price increases. Mm-hmm. That's what Nathan was saying. Their dealerships are passing it along to people. A lot of times, unbeknownst to them, it's not like calling you up, hey, just so you know, there's going to be $1,000, just got a price increase. Are you okay with that? Yes or no? No, it's just, your RV's here. Oh, by the way, before you take it off, there was a price increase. And just so you know, we put that in the sales agreement that you're subject to those price increases. The problem is, and this is where I think it's very scary right now is that dealerships, no accountability. So I can't come to a dealership when this happens and say, well, show me the invoice price that you paid from the factory. There's no way that dealership doesn't have a piece of paper. It's all bunched in with hundreds of RVs, bank information, because the banks are kind of temporarily financing them for the dealerships. And then there's like, if the dealer sells 1,000 RVs and he gets a rebate. There's no way in the world you can figure out how much that dealer paid for that particular RV. I don't even think they probably know, but exactly. They just, so there's no way you can say, well, I'm not, you're charging me 4,000. Prove to me that you had 4,000 in price increases. They can't do it. So that number could be 2,000, and then they're just saying it's 4,000 or whatever. Yeah. So that's the big risk. So make sure on your sales agreement, I would say, right, like you said.
Yeah, sure just ask that dealer.
When I pick up my RV, no price. I'm not going to pay any price increases. What other industry? This is crazy. It's like you don't buy anything or order anything that, this is the price today, but we'll just charge you whatever it is when it comes in, and it's absurd.
That's what they're saying. I got dealerships that I'm hearing about that, and these customers are calling. Of course, it's an ordered unit, guys. There's barely any stock out there, and when there's stock out there, they want $10,000 more for it because it's in stock. These manufacturers are slated to build customer ordered units until almost 2023, and there's some dealerships that are slated to build customer ordered units until 2024. So stock is going to be a rarity. Only get them when things, customer can't get financed or something like that. So what these dealerships are doing is they're not even telling their price on these units. Oh, we can't quote you a price on that because we don't know what the price is going to be when it gets here, and how some of them are even hiding it. They'll hide it as a market adjustment price. So they're on the, they hide it, $10,000 for market adjustment, try to hide it on the PA in small letters. It's just really sad.
Yeah. So I know we spent a lot of time on this, but this whole price protection thing and these hidden fees, this is going to help you save a lot of headaches and find reputable dealerships. So Penny, and we're going to talk a little bit more about the cash thing in just a minute. We talk about financing. I have some other concerns about that dealership that you were talking about. Ronald, what's the difference between gas and diesel? We'll touch on that in just a second. And then Mike said, can you get a better deal on an RV that is in stock at the dealer's lot as opposed to ordering custom direct from the factory? It's actually the opposite, right?
Yeah, for other places, I'll hit on that real quick. On a stock unit, dealerships are going to take advantage of you right off the rip on that because they know it's not in. They know it's here. It's on their lot. They know it's going to be three to even 6 months until you can order one in. So they're taking advantage of these customers, charging upwards of $10,000, of $15,000 more, a couple of $1,000 more. And the sad part is there's people biting on that. And what they don't think about, how are you going to sell that unit in 2 to 4 years and eat that cost? Your resale value is going to be ridiculous. You're going to roll so much negative equity into a new camper. It's not even funny.
Yeah. And that's why I say, yeah, we all want to go camping this fall or whatever, or even this summer. But just like me, Gatlinburg, there's a lot of campgrounds, and I really wanted to be in a campground, but instead we stayed in a log cabin resort kind of setting in the mountains. It was beautiful. We got to do all the camping kind of stuff, the whitewater rafting, all that stuff. But this year we couldn't, we couldn't do the RV thing. It's okay to rent, get through the season. Or if you have to rent an RV or a motorhome, 2 or 3 times, you're going to, the $10,000. That's why I hate to see you guys throw away 10, 15 grand, be upside down, start out on the wrong foot just because you had to have it today. It's like, whereas the 2022s just came out. You can get, a little bit of patience is going to be well worth the wait right now. Or get exactly what you want and need for your family. Just figure out a couple alternatives just to get you through this.
Yeah, I'll hit on that for a little bit, Tim, and I'll knock Mike's question out too in the meantime on that. Everything that you pretty much buy has a wait time. 2 fellow coworkers in here waited almost 6+ months on a hot tub. I waited 12 weeks just for a sliding glass door for the second story of my deck. Everything has a wait time, and to think that just a glass door has that wait time, and you can get a house on wheels in just that amount of wait time, that's actually pretty good, guys. It really is, and to think now's the perfect time to get it for spring camping season. So, Mike, yeah, there is a wait time. Motorhomes are almost 6 to 8 months. A normal average travel trailer fifth wheel is going to be about 3 to 4 months.
Yeah. We're going to talk about used and people that are, maybe this isn't their first RV. But while we switch over to that, what's the differences between gas and diesel units?
Yeah, so obviously hit on that. I'm a diesel pickup truck owner. I've had gas vehicles in the past, so I can definitely hit on both of them. Definitely cost when you go and price out a brand new pickup truck, you're almost $15,000 more just for the engine. The difference on that is you can tow a bunch. You actually get really good fuel economy while you're towing, and then resale value always tends to be a little bit better. But on the other side of that, you pay more in fuel. Replacement costs are almost double than a gas engine.
There is a good amount of service centers, so that's one good thing. Like every exit has a diesel repairs.
Exactly, and fuel's everywhere at a nice truck stop. So
for Class C's and Super C's and the Class A's and stuff. So that's kind of nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So cool. How to get the most for your trade-in? That's another area we want to help folks. So. Who was it? David was asking about NADA. I know you guys get the NADA books, like they're thick, like books that you have. And explain, NADA.com. That's not real accurate just because it's kind of a generalization for the whole country. Each region is different. It gets a little more specific than that. So dealership, if folks have a question like, would you mind helping them? I mean, if someone has a question like, hey, what is my 19 whatever actually worth based on the book value?
I can most certainly help you. Get in touch with me somehow in Anderson and RVWholesalers.com. Call my extension there at 172. I can help look up the value. Because at the end of the day, I want a majority of my customers to actually sell outright. The used market super strong right now, and you're going to get top dollar. So
So what's your recommendation? Should they trade it in and you sell it, or should they just sell it outright?
Just sell it outright. RV Trader, Facebook Marketplace. The 3,000 units we've already sold this year. We have one used unit on our website. I mean, that just goes to show no one's trading in. What they're simply doing is just selling out right there on a marketplace or something, and they're getting thousands more than what any dealership in the country can ever offer for that trailer.
Nice. No, that's really helpful. So I'm going to get your contact information and put it up on the screen here. Give me just a second. And then we're going to talk about financing. I'm also curious. I'm going to put up a poll. This is your first time purchasing an RV. So we'll see what that is while we get, let me get your information. You've been willing to help people out with this, figuring out pricing. Also, another thing that we can help you with, and we created a website for this called towingcalculator.org. It's a place that you can figure out like how much can my tow vehicle tow. That's a kind of one of those introductory questions. So if you already have a truck or a SUV, figure out before you start buying your trailer, make sure you know what that number is, because once you add in your camping gear and all the stuff, you need to.
Can I hit on that real quick too, Tim?
Yeah.
The big thing that I'm getting caught up on with some of my customers, sometimes I've even done it. Don't just type in the year, the make and model of your vehicle right into Google, because it's just going to pop up, let's say 3,500 pounds. Well, that was with if you had the 4-cylinder engine or you had the V6, but you had the V8. Little did you know that you could have towed 8,000 pounds, and you bought a super small travel trailer, and now you outgrew it, and you could have started with the right one to begin with. So
actually I'll put in here the web address. Towing,
yes,
this does do all that for you. This towingcalculator.org. check that out. That's something we just put together. We haven't even put it out to the public, really. It's just we're just we have all the years in there for like 12 years, I think it goes back. So, all right. So here's Nathan's contact information, extension 172, and Anderson RV Wholesalers. We'll put this up again at the end too. But yeah, we're not gonna be able to get to all the questions, but we'll, reach out directly to Nathan too. All right. So let's talk about the financing. She was talking about cash, but there's something on the finance side. I had no idea this was going on. It's kind of the big finance secret. And man, do you mind kind of sharing what that is? Because this could really help save people thousands of dollars. Like before I started helping you guys out, I had no idea this was kind of how financing worked behind the scenes. And once the veil was removed, I was like, whoa, okay. So, yeah, tell us this big financing secret, and then
it's going to be known through us as the finance discount. Any quote that you've ever done on our website, or maybe talk to a sales rep here, you're going to hear about that finance discount. What that is as soon as we generate the loan there through the bank, they give a dealership the back end money. A lot of people did not ever been aware of that, of every ATV or vehicle that they bought. That dealership's getting a pretty substantial kickback there from the bank to bring them business. What we're doing is we're essentially just throwing it back to the customer. Another way of is just saving them money. I'm already, beating most dealers in price without the finance discount, and you add the finance discount to it, just additional savings.
Well, okay. So before we talk about what you do with it so much, but so the bank is giving anybody, whether it's like you said, RV, boats, cars, anything, the bank is giving, anytime they finance with that dealership, the bank gives them a kickback, or what do you call it, like dealer reserve?
Dealer reserve, kickback, exactly.
Yeah. So I had no idea this was happening, and so and I figured a few $100s, that's great, a little commission for the dealership for doing this for the bank. No, we're talking like thousands of dollars, right?
Exactly.
When you're dealing with RVs, they see these as long-term recreational loans, and so give me an example. So say you buy $100,000 Class C motorhome or something big,
big like that. So minimum that I offer is going to be $2,000. The maximum I offer is all the way to $10,000. $100,000 Class C, you're going to be getting about $6,000 off of it if you just finance for 1 year and make your 12 minimum monthly payments. So,
okay. So that's folks, no matter where you buy, like that's money, like that's what's happening behind the scenes. So I remember the owners of RV wholesalers, they had built in their whole profit margins, everything into the price of their RV, which like every dealer does. Decided not to do like what we were talking about, nickel and dime on the hidden fee thing. And all of a sudden they got a check back the first time from the bank. Like, why are we getting a rebate check from the bank? Like, did we do something wrong in our paperwork? No, this was the kickback, or the dealer reserve, officially called. And they're like, well, we weren't counting on that. Like, we already, we have our profit, we pay our people, we do, why do we need an extra big chunk of money? Why don't we give that back to people? So that's kind of where that evolved from that. What'd you call it? Your dealer or your finance discount. Discount. So that's where the finance discount that Nathan was talking about, that their dealership does. Other dealerships, that's where I want you guys, if when you're dealing, no matter what it is, car, boat, and do not be afraid to ask for this. Talk about, kind of hold the card about financing. Like, don't tell them that you're going to finance towards the end there, pull that card out. And when you start talking about it, it's like, okay, so how much of that dealer reserve this is what you're going to say. How much of that dealer reserve are you going to give back to me as either a discount or take off the price here? Mm-hmm. Because they're actually getting money. I don't even think half the salespeople probably don't even know on the sales team that this happens behind the scenes. So you may have to talk to the F&I manager, they call them, or the finance manager, and because they'll know what you're talking about when you pull that out, and just see, because it should be a nice number. yeah, you should be able to get money off the price. That's why when they said you could get a better deal with cash, when Penny was told that she could, if you come in with cash, we can get you a better price. That should really raise red flags, because honestly, they're getting a lot more money when you finance, and they're not giving it to you. But if you come in with cash, there's no way that that helps them, unless they're doing something shady on the table, not reporting stuff or whatever. But as far as, it doesn't make sense for a dealership to say that. So I would be very cautious of that dealership. But if you do want to pay cash, and a lot of people have saved up, and it makes a lot of sense, like why waste money on interest? I know you have kind of a way of doing that, because most banks, they require only a 12-month commitment on this loan, right? So
exactly
12 months. Tell them how you kind of work that, so you don't waste a lot of money on it.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of the same person. So I was the kind of the same guy. I'm always, if I can't pay for it outright, I can't afford it, essentially. So I've always saved up money and just bought all my stuff outright. My family always does the same thing. So always, hey, cash, I got cash. What can you do for me? So I'm used to handling those people all the time. What cash people do is they'll come to me. They'll finance. So what they do is they figure out what their monthly payment is with my finance guy. So let's just do this right here. Let's say your monthly payment's going to be $300 on that RV, right? My cash people, they'll just times it by 12. That's $3,600. That first month, you make a principal only payment of the whole rest of the balance of the camper. Let's say it's, $40,000. You write a check for $40,000, leave your $3,600, your 12 payments open for 1 year. You're only paying interest on that $3,600. Simple interest loan. So the interest is calculated off the principal that's left open. Interest on $3,600, guys, it's going to be about $180 that whole year, and I'm going to give you back, $3,500, $6,000 back in a finance discount. So it's always that's the best way I can save you guys the most amount of money, because with the cash deal, I don't have that finance discount to work with no more. It's not on the table. I don't get it from the bank.
Yeah, no, that's really helpful. That's cool. Yes, thanks. So that's the big dealer financing secret. And going back to the bank.
And that works on everything. This ain't just about campers. If you guys are looking for a tow vehicle too,
I know.
Go to the dealership and get your tow vehicle and see if they can get a finance discount in there for you.
So that right there should be worth the money. Well, you didn't have to pay anything. The time you spent today with us. So thanks for sharing that. That's a really cool tip for us, and I appreciate it. Carol asked a real specific question about a Jayco Swift Class Bs. Class Bs are hard to get right now, so their pricing is a little crazy with those. But any pros and cons? Different manufacturers. We can get some more information on that. If you want to reach out to Nathan Anderson, his email's in here. So let's move on to number 5 area we want to help you navigate, and that's service and warranties. I want to make sure you understand warranties and how those work, because as a kid growing up, my dad always taught me, and yours probably too, when you check out at Walmart, whatever, and they ask you, do you want to pay an extra $10 for the service contract on that electronic device, whatever, it's just a waste of money. Like, don't waste your money. So, and that's cool for that. But when I got into dragging RVs around and seeing how bumpy the roads are, at least in Ohio, I mean, I'm sure whatever state they're probably a little better, but in Michigan, man, I tell you, mostly Michigan. This house on wheels is like banging down the road. You've got a refrigerator that you can't just go to Home Depot and it's like, hey, I need a replacement refrigerator, $1,500. No, this thing has got gas and 12 volt, fully ready, inverter, built, like all this stuff. It's like, oh goodness. So what happens when this thing breaks down? It's obviously things can't last forever in this environment, jiggling down the road all the time. So that's where I think it's worth the investment, and I'd start budgeting ahead for being able to get an extended service contract, especially after reading the manufacturers. Oh, this is funny. So while I was at the manufacturer 2 days ago, I forget, I won't tell you which one it was, but I asked him, I'm like, hey, so just tell us what the warranty is that comes, standard on this unit on camera. Like I'm asking him this question on camera, and what's what's it come with? Does it come with a 1-year roof warranty or 12-year whatever? Like he wouldn't even say on camera because it's one. They're changing. They don't know from today to tomorrow, like which roof they'll have in stock that they can put on that particular camper, for example. And so he wouldn't commit. Was it going to be a 20-year warranty on the roof or 10-year? He wouldn't give me any details. And then I looked at the warranty that comes from the factory. Did you see that a couple of weeks ago? They sent it out and they highlighted. It was so nebulous. It was like, well, we might cover this, but it was just like, oh my goodness. I would not count. I'm sorry, folks, but I would not count on the 1-year factory warranty to do much for you, other than what you would. I mean, you expect a new working unit; it'll cover that. But
everyone's used to automakers warranties too. Same thing, guys. They can easily claim that's neglect, or you didn't do this, or
right.
Oh, look at what you did here. I mean, that same way with automakers.
Yeah. So that's why definitely think about extended service contracts. There's 2 types. There's one that I see that really pays the bills, and it's not that it's a particular brand, but there's 2 types. Lots of different brands, and you got to do your homework to make sure you get a reputable, like A+ rated. It's kind of like insurance ratings, but they have it for these warranties too. So make sure you get a good rated one. And then there's 2 types. So there's exclusionary and stated coverage, stated component coverage. So I'm going to explain what those 2 are. You can write them down. There's one that really pays the bills, and that I feel comfortable saying, like, this is worth the money. So it's a little bit more expensive, but I'm seeing the stated coverage, stated component coverage. This one is not the one I'm recommending. The stated component coverage is the most common one, and it's what we're seeing now, like big chain dealerships. A lot of times they'll push the stated, Good Sam kind of thing. They'll push this, and they'll charge prices that are pretty much similar to exclusionary coverages. So I would say just get an exclusionary coverage. Stated, what it does is you get a contract. It comes in a folder, comes in a big binder kind of thing. And when you open it up on your contract, it'll state the components that are covered. So that's why it's called stated component coverage. On this list this is covered, the refrigerator is covered, this, and then how many, if you get a 5-year contract, whatever. So that's stated component coverage. The other type is kind of the opposite of that. It's almost like this is it's called exclusionary coverage. So the whole thing is covered. Everything is covered on this motorhome, RV, travel trailer. Everything's covered, excluding these items. So whatever it lists on the exclusionary contract, this is what it's excluding. So it's excluding brake pads because they're wear and tear items. A lot of wear and tear stuff. The light bulbs, this. So things that are, your responsibility basically to take care of. Those are the kind of things you'll see on the exclusion list. So that's exclusionary. That's the one that we're seeing, like, really, when it comes to the end of the day, like, the claims are paid. Like, in fact, that's what this is. This is a list of claims last month that RV wholesalers, customers like you, potential people, they paid out these claims. So if I look at this list, I can see AC and ventilation, $1,565 paid to ASP Mobile RV Services, blah, blah, blah. And every month we get a list, a report of things that were being paid. So we know, like, they're paying the bills. Like, that's important. Like, end of day, that's what you want, right? So how much do you budget for something like that? Just a ballpark is like 10% of your total cost. So if you have $100,000 vehicle, you want about 10%. These are multi-years and they're transferable. And if you don't do claims, they'll actually refund you prorate how many years you didn't use it. You sold it. You can get your money back if you didn't have claims up to that amount for those years that you didn't use it. Or you can transfer it when you sell it, so it makes it nice when you're selling it. It has these things come with all kinds of stuff Just as an example, I'm looking here. They pay for hotels when you're down, like while you're getting repairs. They pay for food spoilage. I mean, just all kinds of stuff. It's definitely worth thinking about because it's important. And the other thing that's really important is how do you get service for this thing? Like talking about service, thinking through your local dealership, what kind of service are you going to get? And my concern with a lot of people, and when I started hauling these campers around, it's like, if it breaks down in my local town, like here in Cleveland, and I bought it from my local Cleveland dealership, that's great. But how's it going to fix it when I'm in Gatlinburg, Tennessee? Like I never camp like right in my town. It's like, Murphy's Law says like it's going to break down the farthest, away from my home. Where my dealership is that can fix this thing. So that's a big thing. It's like, how am I going to get it fixed when I'm out traveling the nation? And maybe So for most people, they're going to be out and about. So like, I know that's a question we get too. Like Nathan, how do you guys? Obviously, you're selling and delivering RVs to people in Alaska. Like I was just at your place a couple of weeks ago. There was a lady that came all the way from Washington. She told me that she just bought a new Rockwood from you, and that she sold her 5-year-old Rockwood for more than she paid for it. Like she just sold her 5-year-old one, got more than she paid for it. So that's when when you start looking like used versus new, it's like you might as well get new and get what you want and have the latest and greatest because the used prices are so high right now. So you're better off. But anyway, so she had taken that thing through Alaska and beat it all around and still came out ahead. But yeah, so how does someone like that, how do you take care of people in Washington or Alaska or like other parts of the country? Like, can you explain kind of how that?
Yeah, a true nationwide service network. That is what it is. At the end of the day, it's over 2,900 service centers nationwide to get you guys repaired. And what that is, that's going to be, it could be local dealers. It could be mobile RV repair techs, plumbers, HVAC techs, electricians. And what that is a lot of that's hearsay. Over the years, hey, I sold a camper out to, Sam in Arizona, let's say, and he recommends, hey, I got a buddy that is a camper repairman for a living. He's got all the credentials he needs. Our service center calls him. He's underneath our contract. We call him with a problem, get our customers scheduled and get them fixed by him. It's everywhere. It's everywhere you travel. It's the lifetime of the camper. Other dealerships are going to tell you, hey, just take it to a local Coachman dealer, local Forest River dealer, and you can get it worked on. Guys, it's not a Ford. It's not a Chevy. They're not under contract with the manufacturer. They don't have to work on your stuff. What they're going to do is if they're going to take care of their customers first, they're going to get to you, hey, 4 months down the road, they're pretty booked up right now. And then you're stuck without an AC and 90-degree heat because, you're from Ohio and you just drove to, Arizona to go on a camping trip. And, one call to my service center, I'm going to get in contact with somebody that's local to you and get it fixed. And a huge thing right now that I'm hearing about, and it's simply, completely true. We have a RVW bill pay. What the manufacturer does is, they'll reimburse you, a customer, back on a warranty claim, but they do it in payments, guys. It can be 13 payments over the course of 2 years, and you finally get your $2,000 back that you had to pay up front to get your AC fixed. We do that. We'll fit the bill for you, and we wait to get reimbursed here on our side of things.
Yeah, it kind of fits into Mike's question. Mm-hmm. He was thinking, so if while it's covered by the factory, he'll just rent an RV during that time while it's down. If the factory is going to, would insuring the RV and covering rentals be better? So insurance, so you have insurance. That's just for like physical damage if someone runs into it, that kind of thing. So, or if a tree falls, limb falls and damages it, that kind of stuff, physical damage. So you definitely want insurance. That's separate from the warranty. Not sure exactly how to answer this question, but
just shoot me an email, Mike. I'll get you taken Okay. I would be.
Oh, I meant I would be running as a business. Oh, okay, rent it out. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so that's what a lot of people are doing right now. It's like, hey, when they're not using it, they rent it out. It's great money renting them out right now if you don't mind someone else using it. And the insurance that comes from the rental companies really covers that, anything that they do to it. So you're pretty protected on that side, and maybe a little more hassle for you. But
Yeah.
Another thing with rental too, like put in there real specifically, like, hey, you bring it back clean, put a cleaning kit in there and say, bring it back clean, or we're going to charge you an extra $300. Here's what it looks like, how it should be cleaned. And then they'll prep it and get it all ready for your next rental. So yeah, just be smart with it. So yeah, on the rental side, you just have to be careful when you're buying like your RV and you're buying your warranty. Don't really talk about what you're going to do with it. If you're going to full time, that's another red flag. A lot of people, if you say you're going to live in this thing full time, most banks won't finance it, and most insurance and warranties won't cover it. So just, that's the kind of stuff you don't want to really talk about.
Yeah, just don't disclose it.
Yeah. They're not going to ask, and you don't have to talk. So hopefully that helps. More questions. We'll wrap up here. So good stuff. John, I'm looking for a fifth wheel RV to live in with my mom. Need it as soon as possible. Live in Fort Worth, Texas. Need it delivered. Do you have inventory that's ready to buy? So
it's one thing. I have a lot of inventory. I do have quite a few fifth wheels there on my website. John, plan that you can give me a shout and give me a call on my extension. Shoot me an email after I get out of here. I'll get you taken care of.
Yeah, and I'll put your contact information up here again. I have a real special thing for you guys that hung out with us all the way to the end here. So I'll talk about that. There's two types of RVs, construction-wise, this little picture. If you're just starting out, it's like you figured out, first you want to figure out your floor plan that you like. Do you want your kitchen here? Do you need a bunk room for the kids? Kind of the basics of a floor plan. Don't get worried. Like, I know there's like thousands of different makes and models, and half of the models they're made by the same people. Okay, let's back up. So like 70% of every part comes from one manufacturer, Lippert Manufacturing. They make the chassis, the appliances, like all the stuff that goes into every RV. So every manufacturer pretty much pulls from this group of supply. And so when you're talking different brands, they're very similar. Like there's not a lot of differences. It's more of a preference thing. So don't get too hung up on that. And a lot of them have multiple names. So they may make a name for Camping World, maybe I don't know what a name of one of their brands is, but there may be the exact same model and make and floor plan in another with another name.
Sister companies, essentially.
Companies, yeah, exactly. Or a lot of them are even the same company. They just put a different label at the very end. Mm-hmm. So don't worry about that. Focus on towing capacity and what size you need, then how you want it laid out, like bunk rooms. And then this next part is construction types. There's two types of construction. One is it's got wood frame structure with aluminum siding. So it's easy to fix and change the aluminum siding. If something gets damaged, it's a lot lower, lower cost. And then you've got the laminated fiberglass construction type with aluminum inside instead of wood framing. So both, depending on what you're doing with it and how many years you want to get out of it and that kind of thing, and budget, those are basically the two types that you want to work with. Mm-hmm. And then, so Nathan can kind of help you walk through some of that as you start diving in. That's not Nathan. There's Nathan. Here's Nathan's contact information. Ronald asked, if I buy privately, who can inspect it? Let me put up inspection slide. Okay, I have some information for you. Actually, you know what? When you get an email in 2 hours, at the end of the email with the replay, we're gonna send you the replay. At the end of the email, I'm gonna put the name of 2 inspection companies that, if you're buying a used RV, you can utilize this inspection company. It's independent. We have no connection with them, but it'll help you out. And you can even do this on a new one too, like hire an inspector. It's $400. Check out an RV for you. So good idea. And yeah, any last questions before we say goodbye? I need a 2-bedroom festival. Do you have a thing? Kat, I'll have Nathan get with you directly. Cool. So take a picture, guys. Take a screenshot of Nathan's contact information here, either a screenshot or a picture. And the first 2 people that email to N Anderson RV Wholesalers and put in the subject 500. If you're buying, if you end up ordering an RV from him in the next couple of days, the first 2 people are going to get $500 credit towards delivery. So no matter what state you're in, get it $500 off the delivery of that RV when it's manufactured and brought in. So just a little way that the owner said that I could say thank you for hanging out with us, learning a lot, and man, it's been good.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Tim.
Yeah, if before you leave, when you're saying goodbye, just put in there like your dream, like I want to take an RV and go to, like for me, it's the picture I just flashed up there with the presidents, up at Mount Rushmore. Like I haven't gone there. I want to take the family there in an RV. Tell me what you guys want to use an RV for. It'd be fun. We'll do some, I like to watch the chat and see. So tell us that and take care. Happy camping soon. I appreciate you guys taking time to learn. Thank you, Nathan, for giving us your expertise on.
Not a problem. Glad I could help.
Save a lot of headaches and save a lot of money too. So take care.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.